Easter's Hidden Histories, Power, Paganism, and the Politics of Renewal. Introduction. Beyond the Bunny. Easter is often celebrated today with lilies, pastel colors, chocolate rabbits, and egg hunts. But beneath the surface of this springtime festivity lies an ancient, multifaceted narrative. Easter is not only a cornerstone of Christian theology, but a convergence point for older mythologies, imperial agendas, and the eternal human desire for renewal. This teaching seeks to unearth the hidden histories of Easter, exploring how power, paganism, and politics shaped this sacred day. We will explore the syncretism between Christianity and older religions, the manipulation of time and ritual by empires, and the psychological and spiritual implications of death and resurrection in a world thirsting for meaning. Part 1. The Pagan Roots of Resurrection. Before Easter was ever associated with Jesus of Nazareth, the spring season was marked by rituals celebrating life, fertility, and the return of light after the long winter. 1. The goddess Eostre. The name Easter is believed to derive from Eostre or Ostra, a Germanic goddess of spring and fertility. According to the Venerable Bede, writing in the 8th century, Anglo-Saxon pagans held festivals in Eoster's honor during the month of April. Eostre was associated with new life, dawn, rebirth, and the hare, a symbol of fertility. The egg, an ancient symbol of life and potential, was central to many springtime festivals across cultures. In this way, Easter's popular symbols predate Christianity, carrying forward a lineage of seasonal spirituality. 2. Ancient myths of death and rebirth. Easter's central theme, resurrection, echoes motifs found in many ancient religious traditions. Osiris, Egypt dismembered and resurrected by Isis, symbolizing the flooding and fertilization of the Nile. Tammuz, Babylonia, a dying and rising god whose death was mourned and whose return was celebrated in spring. Adonis, Greece lover of Aphrodite, whose death and resurrection symbolized the cycles of nature. Persephone and Demeter, Greece the descent into the underworld and return to earth, paralleling winter and spring. Dionysus, Greece the god of wine, madness, and resurrection, torn apart and brought back to life. These stories reflect a deep archetypal pattern in the human psyche, the descent into darkness and the triumphant return to life. The Christian story of Jesus' death and resurrection fits this ancient mold, yet introduces a distinct twist: redemption through sacrifice, and the resurrection not just of nature, but of the human soul. Part 2. The Rise of Power, Easter and Empire. 1. The Council of Nicaea and Calendar Politics. By the 4th century, Christianity was moving from a persecuted sect to the religion of empire. With Constantine's conversion, there was a need to standardize belief and practice across the Roman world. The Council of Nicaea in 325 AD not only settled theological disputes, it also addressed when Easter should be celebrated. Easter's timing was contentious. Early Christians celebrated it according to the Jewish calendar, Passover, linking Jesus' death to the Exodus story. But the Church, under imperial pressure, sought to distance itself from Judaism. The council ruled that Easter would fall on the first Sunday after the first full moon following the spring equinox. This decision was about power. By disconnecting Easter from Passover, the Church asserted independence and imperial alignment. It symbolized Christianity's transition from oppressed faith to ruling institution, and it reveals how spiritual truths were entangled with political agendas. 2. Christianizing the pagan world. As Christianity spread, it absorbed and rebranded local customs. Pagan temples became churches. Festivals were baptized. Easter, situated at the vernal equinox, co-opted pre-Christian rituals of spring. This was not merely syncretism, it was strategic cultural dominance. By incorporating familiar themes and symbols, the Church could appeal to the masses while asserting spiritual authority. The resurrection of Christ became the central metaphor not just of faith, but of imperial continuity, social order, and cosmic hierarchy. Part 3. The Politics of Renewal. 1. Death as a political act. Jesus' crucifixion was not just a spiritual event. It was a public execution by the Roman state. He was killed as a political insurgent, a threat to empire. Resurrection, then, is not only theological, it is subversive. To proclaim he is risen is to declare that empire cannot kill truth, that death is not the final word, and that the structures of domination are temporary. Easter becomes a revolutionary statement, a declaration that suffering can be transformed, injustice overturned, and that love can outlast violence. 2. The resurrection as cosmic renewal. Easter has always spoken to more than personal salvation. It speaks to the renewal of the entire cosmos. The early Christians believed that Christ's resurrection initiated a new creation, the first fruits of a coming world. This wasn't mere escapism, it was a call to action. If resurrection is real, then injustice, oppression, and despair are not final. It calls believers to participate in the reordering of reality, from systems of death to systems of life. In this sense, Easter is political theology, a vision of renewal that challenges the powers of this world. Part 4. The hidden wisdom of the seasons. 1. Nature as Scripture. The deeper meaning of Easter cannot be fully grasped apart from nature's own cycles. Spring speaks a universal language. Trees budding, rivers thawing, seeds bursting through soil. Nature tells the resurrection story every year. In many spiritual traditions, including mystical Christianity, nature is viewed as a second scripture. The resurrection is not just a past event, but a present pattern, unfolding in the rhythms of the earth and soul alike. To observe Easter deeply is to see the world anew, to recognize that the divine is always at work, even in the dark, and that every death holds the seed of new life. 2. Personal renewal and inner resurrection. The final layer of Easter's hidden history is deeply personal. It asks not just did Jesus rise, but what must die in me, and what longs to rise? Easter invites us to confront our own tombs, old identities, limiting beliefs, fears, and traumas. It teaches us that transformation often requires a descent into pain, loss, and even silence. But on the other side of the tomb is the garden. The politics of renewal begins within. The resurrection is not a one-time event, but a spiritual technology, a path we walk again and again, from death to life, bondage to freedom, winter to spring. Conclusion. Reclaiming Easter's depth. To truly celebrate Easter is to enter into a profound mystery, a mystery that transcends doctrine, denomination, and dogma. It is a celebration of the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth, the resilience of the oppressed, and the power of truth, the sacred unity of spirit and matter, the call to live resurrected lives, embodying love, courage, and justice. In reclaiming Easter's hidden histories, we do not diminish its power. We expand it. We honor the pagan roots, the political complexities, and the personal invitations embedded in the story. This is the resurrection not only of Jesus, but of a more holistic spirituality, one that embraces myth and mystery, history and hope, power and poetry. In this story, all things are being made new.